my friends. Chestnut Mountain Tin Man here. Wednesday, December the 9th at about 4 o'clock. Hello, right into the sun. Which way we're going? It's kind of a screwy time to go that way. Gonna ride a little bit and talk with you. I thought we would talk guns again, since we all like that subject. And I thought I would talk. This is totally just come to me off the top of my head, but iron sights versus red dot sight. What are the advantages of putting a red dot sight onto your pistol? And let's go this way. After all, we do have mail. So with iron sights, you have three things that come into play. You have the length of the barrel, that's the distance between the rear sight and the front sight. And then you have the rear notch and the front post. And to accurately shoot an iron-sighted gun, you concentrate on the front sight post to where it is crystal clear in focus, your rear sight slightly out of focus, and your target is out of focus. So it's just superimposed over the target and it's blurry, whereas your front sight post is crystal clear, which is why people like me have a hard time with iron sights as they get older, because you can't focus on that without your reading glasses. So you draw, you pick up the front sight, you put it equally in the rear sight window, and there's many different windows that a rear sight might be. A square, sometimes you have circles, sometimes like if you have night sights, you have three dots you line up because your front sight's a dot. Nice to turn your turn signal on as you're turning, but there are a variety of those. But anyways, you pick up the front sight, you drop it into the rear sight, you're focused on that front sight post, crystal clear. You can see it's where it needs to be in the rear sight, so the sights are aligned. And then you see the blurred front sight, the crystal clear front sight on the blurred target, wherever you want it to be, and then you pull the trigger, and wherever that front sight lies, as long as you pull the trigger properly, which is a whole nother thing, the bullet will hit. So there's a few things that you have to get just right shooting iron sights for everything to fall into place and the bullet to hit. And the longer your barrel, basically the longer the distance between those two, rear sight, front sight, the less movement hurts you. The closer they are, the harder they are to focus, and the more out of focus matters, if that makes any sense. Pop in the red dot, which occurred in the early 90s first, and they were big and bulky. We were shooting pistol competitions then with just a iron-sighted pistol with compensator on it. That was an open gun at the time. And then everybody started playing with the aim point dots. And like I said, they were a pretty good sized creature. And having to figure out what kind of mount to use, and then recoil, and how your slide reacted to having that weight on the gun, all kinds of things with trigger springs, down to now the micro dot that mounts on the slide. It can go onto a concealed carry weapon. Trijicon was the forefront of that with their RMR, and now Hullison makes a very comparable, looks almost like the Trijicon, except for it curves upwards instead of downwards. The downwards top is Trijicon's patent because it makes it stronger. But anyways, with the red dot, once you have that red dot zeroed, all you have to do is focus on your target. So you look at your target and you have your target clear, crystal clear, focused, not blurry, and you just bring your dot over it, basically superimposed on top of it, and pull the trigger. Wherever that dot is, the bullet should impact, as long as you're doing trigger control properly and all that good stuff. It allows shooters to do what shooters have always wanted to do, and that is look at your target. And if you do that with iron sights, you're probably going to miss because you're not zeroed. Your iron sight, your front sight is probably not where it should be because you're not crystal clear on it. Just let's go 5 miles an hour. So the big advantage of the red dot sight is that you get to look at your target, whether it be a person or a silhouette paper or a bullseye target or a deer. Put the dot on your target, pull the trigger. All the while you're looking at your target, knowing full and well what that target is. That's always been a kind of a negative point of iron sights for police officers, is you have to identify your target and then you have to back out of that to your front sight. Because you don't want to go to front sight with a blurred target and not know. You have to confirm what you're looking at, so that always takes up time, and if you got multiples, makes it sort of difficult to phase in and out trying to look at your multiple targets and your front sight and all that. With a red dot, you're just looking at everything, and that dot's just out there waiting for it to be put on something and the trigger squeezed. I now have a red dot on all 3 of my carry guns. I did that back when in February of last year, when Jack in that Texas church shooting shot the bad guy that had already shot 2 church members, and Jack popped him in the head at about 15 yards. Yeah, I can do that all day long, but I need my glasses. I need my reading glasses on. Well, in a shooting situation, you ain't got time to put your glasses on. So it became apparent to me that I better do something. And I put a red dot on my Model 32, which is originally a 23 40 caliber. Then I had moved it to become a 19 9mm, and then I got a 357 SIG barrel and made it a 32, which is better than a 23 and a 19 all together. And now I have put dots on my other 2 guns. I sold my shield to do the 43X, which I've been talking about here lately, and I love that gun. It is my ultimate carry gun now. Man, it would probably be, well, I don't know, it might not be too much of a handful, but if they ever barrel that gun in 357 SIG, holy moly, I will go to it in a heartbeat. Should be able to the frames on a 9mm and 40 and 357 are all the same. 43X, if they ever make that barrel for that in 357 or 40, which I can only imagine. I mean, Smith & Wesson in the Shield, they've had a 40 for quite some time. I'm surprised at the Glock 43X. They haven't done 40 in it. They did that to the 357s right there. Man, that would be the ultimate gun. But anyways, that is why, if I made any sense at all, the ability to quickly acquire your target, focused on your target, to bring your gun up and your red dot onto the target with never looking away from your target, and once you see the dot appear, you're ready to go. All you gotta do is squeeze the trigger. So it'll have all of that focus back and forth, acquiring target, acquiring front sight. It's all boom right there. And there's no focus problem of the front and rear sight. So it's very fast. And then wherever you place that dot, that bullet should hit if you are zeroed properly and your trigger control is where it should be. And that is, my friends, why I love the red dot. I would predict sometime in the future, guns won't even, I mean, guns are already being offered like MOS, where the slide's already cut for it. But I predict guns being made with no iron sights and a small red dot incorporated into the gun, probably even different than they are made now. And that's just how the gun is. The likelihood of breaking a red dot is minimal. And if you want to go to Sage Dynamics and watch Aaron's, he's tested every red dot out there that there is. Hollisons do really well. But go to Sage Dynamics and watch Aaron test him, and you'll have no... what did you do that for? You'll have no fear of carrying a red dot. Anyways, I've got to run into the post office box, so I will be right back. All right, people, I'm back. I got a card from BD Ryder. I would imagine it's a Christmas card. I didn't open it, but being it's a card, I can only imagine it's Christmas. But back to what I was talking about. That is the reason why I prefer a red dot. Have always preferred a red dot ever since I put one on one of my IPSC USPSA race guns and shot them that way. But we're talking a red dot that was that big around. And for the 6 years I shot unlimited, they continually got smaller. And all the different brands started jumping in. But I ended up shooting iron sights or limited. Basically shot a limited race gun. That's what I was talking about yesterday, my STI 40 with the 1.5-pound trigger. But the red dot has all of the advantages. Some people say, well, what if the battery dies? Some of these dots you can leave the battery on and they'll run 6 months or longer for sure. The Holosun, all of the bigger ones have solar cell on top, like my two 507Cs. So if you're in any kind of light, whether it be a light bulb or sunlight, the battery shuts off and it runs off the solar. Now the 407 507K, it doesn't have solar because it's so much smaller, but still the Holosuns have auto shut off with shake on. So when you pick it up, the sight comes on, so it doesn't run always on running the battery, or you don't worry about like the Vortex with the auto shut off of 12 hours, and you've worn it 13, forgot about it, and your dot's off. So the ability to draw, acquire your target, acquire your dot, and pull the trigger, and no focusing involved in it. The only focus there is focusing on life and what's in front of you. Totally awesome, especially for older guys like me that their eyesight is waning. And don't think that bifocals could help you, because I tried that one time. Went to department qualification, had my bifocals with me, and ended up having to shoot without them, because as fast as we shot, I could not acquire the bifocal, then the front sight, then the target in the 2 seconds of time that was allowed. And I just had to start shooting without any magnification. Never went to qualification without regular reading glasses again. So bifocals do not work for shooting. Hope this helped you. I know it was a little bit of rambling, but it's how my brain works and rambles. Red dot scopes totally trump iron sights. There is no doubt about that. And if you have the ability to get one, don't fear, you'll love it. And if you're doubtful, pick up somebody's gun and try it. Ask them if you can look through it. And from that second on, you should be sold. Then there's just the cost of doubling the cost of each gun. There's a lot of people that do slide cuts. I use Defense Industries. DM me if you want to know more information. So I appreciate you coming along on this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday afternoon. I'm not in any hurry to get home because they canceled church, because several Hall County schools went back to classroom only, and the church wanted to honor that, so we're not having anything tonight. Still on for Sunday. But anyways, this is the Chestnut Mountain Tin Man saying thanks for coming along. Remember to do all that good stuff that I asked you to do at the very beginning on the screen. You know the drill by now anyways. So, ride them when you can, ride them safe, and stay safe. I'm out of here.